So today we're having a special lineup as we dive into the topic of post-elections. Now, so for all the FEBA listeners who have been watching our programs, thank you so much. And if you ever want to get in touch with us, you can always get in touch with us at 663642521 and 64. And if you ever want to get in touch with us in email, you can definitely do that at info@febaonline.org. So thank you so much again, listeners, for viewers over here for watching the Insta live of Reality Bank. And today joining us here we have Kiran over here, who's a staff at FEBA. Thank you so much, Kiran, for joining us again here. So how are you?
Hey, welcome. Yeah, fine, fine, Johan, fine.
Yeah. So as you know, Kiran had come for the previous session actually, which was about pre-elections. So we sat and spoke about the entire electoral process, about the 82
Yes,
days, and why we had 82 days of the electoral process. And you gave us a very great detail and explanation about everything. So if you guys haven't listened to or watched the episode, you can definitely do that at FIBA Treasures. The entire episode is there, and you can definitely watch it. Kiran gave really good explanation about the entire this year's elections, why it's been held for this long, and the entire election process. So now we have Kiran here again for the post-election results, and we are going to talk about the entire election process, how it went, and about the number of voters. There are a lot of things that we have to talk about. So the first thing I wanted to ask you, Kiran, is this year again the voting days if you look at the announcement of the poll to the result, it was around 82 days. The voting the number of voting days was like 40 plus days. I think that's around one and a
yeah,
half months.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
after the first general elections, this is the largest election that's been taken place in India. So
Yes,
and as you discussed earlier, you explained to us earlier about the seven phases of elections that took place, right? So my first
yes.
question to you is: do you think the seven phases of elections was it effective?
Uh, Johan, personally, I feel it was not so effective, or the reasons what this election commission gave, citing that it was for due to the security reasons
Hmm.
and the mobilization of the security force and election officers or staff from one place to another, all this such kind of things. I think the reasons are valid and it is strong, but
Hmm.
I personally feel that it could have been managed by still more at the lesser days,
Okay.
maybe 30 days or something like that, instead of
Hmm.
having such a long duration of this electoral process.
Hmm.
By this, it actually affected, yes, the moral code of conduct came into effect.
Hmm.
By that, the developmental work was affected to such a period.
Yeah.
All this kind of things was there, and ultimately, what we saw that still
Hmm.
violence happened. West Bengal, we see that there was a violence, there
Hmm.
was deaths,
Yeah.
and also what we saw was the fair election without any malpractice or something like that. Of course, to this year we saw that some 10,000 crores, as per the election commission, 10,000 crores of money was seized during this period. That
Hmm.
was the largest seizure in the history.
Hmm.
And to that extent, the malpractice was curtailed.
Hmm.
The freebies were also, I think, some 2,400 something. To that extent, they seized the drugs also. So all these kind of things, good things has also it has happened. But ultimately, uh, what they told, the security reason and all that, I think there was a little bit failure on that part.
Hmm. Okay.
uh, at least next time they should think before fixing such a long period of the gap.
Also, like another thing I want to ask you is, do you think they should continue like this, the seven phase? of
I don't think.
election?
I don't. I personally don't think they shouldn't. This should be the habit.
Mm,
They should not be the habit in future. See, there are elections, except during the first general elections, because
mm,
that was the first general election for the free India. 6 months time duration they took,
mm,
because as they had to, make the arrangements, they had to educate the people,
mm,
and the process has to be made,
mm,
which will become a routine one in the next from next general election.
yeah,
So we can understand that part. But
mm,
after 70 years, if you
mm,
still have such a long period of, long process for, for conducting the elections,
mm,
I think, and that too, when you say that technology has improved, we are using the latest technology, all that kind of things.
mm,
I think that is not right thing to do it.
okay.
Certainly, this long duration of election process doesn't have any justification, I believe.
Okay. So, apart from the 7 days election process, overall, how do you think the entire how do you think the entire voting process? How do you think it was handled, like overall?
Yeah, to handling of this thing, yes, it was handled properly. I mean, they mobilized the security forces from north, south, everywhere.
Yeah.
But of course, when you come to West Bengal,
Mm,
there was violence. There, that failure was there, and even in UP also there was a failure.
mm,
But overall, when you see, yes, it was not so bad. It was
mm,
not so bad. It was handled properly. But one thing, whatever it is, it doesn't justify this long duration of election process. But
mm,
yes, I give thumbs up
okay.
to the what election commission has done so far.
Okay. So, according to you, so for what do you think were this year Lok Sabha's elections? What do you think are the highlights? The key highlights that people should know about from your observation. And also another question, that I would like to join with this is, there are sometimes when people vote, they may not it not be, the result may not be exactly what they may have expected, or it was what they expected. We don't know what their response would have been, right? For everyone would have had a very different response for each of it. So, what do you think? People's how should people respond? What should people's response be to the newly elected leaders?
Uh, First of all, Johan, the highlights is that we can say that the it was something like, when you see on the face of it, we see that it was like one sided battle, like
Okay.
one group was dominating
Mm,
the whole process. But
mm,
ultimately we see that that didn't happen.
yeah.
uh, we see that other group was able to contain or curtail the dominance
Mm,
to a larger extent. And we see that there are, all the small parties or all the opposition parties, which were placed very in a disadvantaged situation, like they were not having that financial strength, the the media dominance or something, like all that kind of things. But still they were able to increase their vote share, and also the seat share also they were able to improve on that.
mm,
So I think the perception, what that was built up, even up to the exit poll analysis,
mm,
that didn't happen. I think that was a major, major highlight of this election, particularly this election. And we see that, as I already mentioned, 10,000 crore caesary that has gone that is done in this election.
mm,
It's something commendable, and also it is very, a good job done by the election commission.
mm.
Actually, it is said that they used some what is that ccm system to track the cash movement also. So
Okay.
that gave up so many seizures that has happened in India, all over India, whether it is South India or North India, whatever it is.
Mm,
So to that extent, we can confidently say that uh, the money distribution, what normally happens during the election time, that didn't happen.
okay.
So that undue influencing the voter was
Mm,
there. That didn't happen to that extent. I don't say that 100% it didn't happen.
mm.
It did happen, but not to that scale. Or rather, we have this figure of 10,000 crore. To that extent, it was curtailed. It was curtailed. So, and that is one part. And also, we see that 18.5 million uh, younger generation or the first time voters, they were there, and in that some 40 or 45% they got registered and they voted. So that one was also highlight for this election. So by and large, these are the main highlights, I believe, Johan.
Mm. So again, so that was the what do you the so the newly elected leaders, like I mentioned earlier, sometimes the result maybe is what they expected or it's not expected.
Yeah.
Some of them are happy or not happy. So what would you say to
No,
what would you
that's
think?
what, Johan. See, we while voting, I mean, while voting, we have preferences
Yeah.
for an individual, for a or for a party, or whatever. Maybe whatever the reasons, we have some preferences, and we will vote according to that. Maybe, yeah, again based on the manifesto or policies, whatever it is.
Mm,
But ultimately, it is democracy. Ultimately, some person will be elected.
yeah.
Ultimately, some person from whichever party, they will be, declared as MP, who
Mm,
will, they will represent us. So whatever it is, we
mm,
have to respect the verdict, because
okay.
it is a democracy.
Yeah.
It is not autocracy or something like that. So
Yeah.
it is a democracy. We have to accept the verdict. And
Yeah.
yes, sometimes what happens to see, it's like I say this, that we can't satisfy everybody on everything, and
Mm,
we can't satisfy everybody all time.
mm,
So some of the things, even the party which we have not voted, some policies, some beliefs, what they do,
mm,
that it will be good one. Some yeah, majority may not be the majority may not be the things which you like or which you disagree. So the thing is that there is something, if which we can support, or there is something which that other party which you have not voted is
mm,
doing something good, let us support it. Ultimately, it is for, in a democracy, what has to happen is that the people have to be benefited. It is for the people that this system is there, this democracy system exists. So
mm,
if the party is doing something good, let us support it. If the party is not doing so, uh, which is not good to the society, then let us raise our voice. There are different platforms available now.
yeah.
Let us raise our voice and let us oppose that kind of policies, or whatever work they are doing.
Mm,
Otherwise, I feel that, yeah, you have every right to vote. You
mm,
have every right to choose a person as your representative.
mm,
Fine, you have done your job. Provided you have done the job, you have gone out and voted.
mm,
If suppose that person has not been elected, then accept the you have to accept the reality
mm,
and be watchful. and be watchful what that what the representative is doing. If
mm,
he is doing good thing, support him. If he is not doing good thing, then raise your voice.
mm.
That's what we can do.
Yeah. So, another, another thing I wanted to ask you is, sometimes the implementation, of the electoral promises, by the winning parties, it's
Mhm.
usually, it's not fulfilled all the time, right? And this is, we see this often, it's almost, sometimes it's like a pattern that we see. So what do you think? What is your opinion on this? Do you really think it's true, or what do you think? It's just.
What I want to say is that when you invest on social cause or populist schemes, then you can't have money for developmental work. So when
Mm,
you don't put money on developmental work, naturally there will not be development, there will not be any job creation, there will not be any income generated. So ultimately it is going to affect the treasury. So the overall picture is that even if you have some sure populist schemes, it should be
mm,
within the manageable limit.
mm,
But as you see, some governments or some parties, they have this sense that only this much we can give, more
mm,
than this we can't manage.
mm,
So when any manifesto says that this much of populistic schemes we can give,
mm,
please think, please think whether
mm,
they'll be able to. You see the other part of the manifesto, whether they have plans to generate income, they have plans to for developmental work, they have plans to to take care of the future generation, they have plans for health, they have plans for the younger generation. So you
mm,
see that one also.
mm,
Don't see that okay they have promised some 5,000 for unemployment youths. Oh,
mm,
5,000 I'll be getting, so let me vote. Don't take the decision like
mm,
that. So you see whether if they are paying some 5,000, whether they are able to generate some 20,000 from that. If they
mm,
are unable to, if the government or if the parties, if they don't have plans for to generate income for that
mm,
5,000, then I personally feel that you don't vote for that party. Because the thing is that you may get 5,000 today, but
mm,
your child may not even get that 5,000 after 15 or 20 years.
mm,
So maybe you will suffer now, but see that there is some uh, developmental works or industries are being set up, that kind of things where the job is created, where the income is created,
mm,
where the government is empowering you to
mm.
earn,
Yeah.
rather than
Mm,
depending on the government itself. That is the
yeah.
development, or that is what we have to see. Yes, to some extent, politics is not business.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it is not business.
Mm,
It has its own social responsibility. I agree
mm,
that. But to what extent? To what extent that social responsibility it is?
mm,
That we have to see. We have to balance the social responsibility and for the developmental work.
mm,
We can't stress on one side. We can't put all the strength on the for developmental itself, because we have social responsibility being a political party, or being a responsible government. You have the responsibility to take care of your people.
mm,
That also is there. So we have to do a balancing act.
mm,
So see, understand, digest the manifesto
mm,
before you vote, at least next time.
mm. Now, speaking of voting, this year has the this year has the largest number of has the largest number of votes, in general elections in the world's history. So it's a world
Yeah.
record that that's happened. So this is we maybe, people are more people are taking voting more seriously this year, or what? So what do you think? What do you think this says about our democracy currently?
Johan, as you said, our vote electoral capacity, I call, that
Mm.
is more. It's
Yeah.
something like uh, a motor car has the HP of some 2000 HP, this thing power,
Mm.
but only some 800 900 HP is being used. How it will be? You're not using it to the full capacity.
Mm.
Same way,
Mm.
uh, our democracy is the largest democracy in the world,
Yeah.
in the global. But unfortunately, people only 60%. I'm telling approximate what the election commission has given the figures. Approximately, approximately some 60% have come out and voted for. Yeah, I have come out and voted for the for this general election.
Yeah.
So you just see that suppose 100 crore people have been registered, but how many people have come out and voted? Only 60%. That is very very 60%, or it says that 65%. Only so much have come out and voted. That is very very part, a very very sad part. And one more thing is that the urban citizens, urban voters, they are very lazy, they are very lethargy in this. They are, I say that they are irresponsible. When you analyze the statistics, it is the rural voters who come out and vote. They have the higher percentage than the urban voters. That is very 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 sad part. And also, it is the statistics says that we have about 18 18.5 18.5 million young voters are there,
Mm.
but only 40% have registered.
Mm.
So that is another sad part. The future generation, they are not interested in selecting their rulers, or rather I say their representatives who
Mm.
govern them. But in spite of all this, we have a lot of complaints against the government, saying that government has not done this, not done that. But what, how responsible you are in making that government to work? So that
Mm.
also we have to see. Definitely, Johan, we are the largest democracy,
Mm.
but this is the reality of the democracy, that we only the 65% of the people come out and vote.
Mm.
That should not be there.
Mm.
That should not be there.
Mm. Uh, no, so also like another thing I wanted to ask is like, do you think 65% of the voters, right? So do you think it's like they don't understand the voting process? They don't have enough education of the entire voting process, or do you think it's just they don't
No,
have the
no,
interest to vote?
no. Everybody is aware of their responsibility. Everybody is aware of their responsibility, and even election commission, it is doing its bit of responsibility, whatever, they're creating awareness. And there are some NGOs who work for creating awareness about this, you know highlighting the importance of voting. But the thing is that the people, the perception has been built up that whatever the government, or whatever, whichever the party comes to the power, things doesn't change.
Yeah.
Things doesn't change, and it, some people even say that it becomes worse and worse. So this is the perception that has been built up. But at the same time, I want to tell to this that kind of people,
Mm.
uh, if that was the case,
Mm.
you just see that your grandpa was, he was roaming around, or he was going to office in a bicycle.
Mm.
Your father, he was going in a scooter, two wheeler. And now you have the opportunity to go in a four wheeler. How
mm,
this has happened? It's over a period of some 50 to 60 years, over a period of two to three generations.
mm,
It is because your grandpa selected some government or some representative who has done some policies, who has decided something on the developmental work, and that benefit even he had and your father had.
mm,
Then you, by seeing that, you should learn that if I do my bit of job,
mm,
then my future generation will have it. So
mm,
it is your job or it is your duty to see that you select a proper person to represent you. You have to see that what which party he represents, whether that party has proper policies in place, for me or for the nation. So
mm,
accordingly, you take the decision and you do your bit of the job, and
mm,
the rest it will happen. It will happen during your lifetime or during your children lifetime or your
mm,
grandchildren lifetime.
mm,
So the perception, it fails here. So
mm,
many people who I have come across, they have this kind of perception: we can't help, nothing
mm,
is going to change, why
mm,
should I vote?
mm,
And that is one thing.
mm,
And another thing is that some people, they are lazy in checking their whether their name appears in a voter list or not.
mm,
That has to be done well before, and if it is not there, they have to get registered.
mm,
So that part also plays, it has its this thing
mm,
impact on voting share also, because I've seen many people,
mm,
they want to vote, they come to the booth, but again they see that their name is not there and they go back. So it happens out of 100, voters who come in the to the booth, at least 5 to 6 people, or even sometimes more than that, they go back because their
mm,
names are not there. So
mm,
that means some 5% are unable to vote.
mm,
So that part also is there. So, and yes, some people, they are not aware. They are not aware of their rights.
mm,
They are not aware of the importance of voting. One vote,
mm,
what difference does it make? Or
mm,
if my family has some even 10 votes, if they don't vote, what difference does it make? I just want to give a reference or example. In recently in Karnataka Assembly,
mm,
we saw that with some 16 votes, I believe, 16 votes, that the MLA got defeated, or rather, the other MLA got elected
mm,
when there was a recounting and all that. So every vote, every single vote counts. Every family votes counts.
mm,
So don't have this kind of lethargic or negative perception. Whatever is there,
mm,
you go and vote. That perception has to build up in the citizens, in the voters mind. Then only we can have more voters share, and
mm,
more voting, more changes can happen. And you know positive changes can happen. And only thing, when you understand your candidate, when you understand the party to which you are voting,
mm.
and if you vote accordingly, then definitely there will be changes.
Okay. So that's it. As we have come to the end of the discussion about the post-election results. Again, thank you so much, Kiran, for coming here again and giving
Yeah,
us. You've given really great analysis, and you've given great and good great knowledge about this year's post election results as well. And I'm hope many everyone learn something from this, and we hope we look forward to have you in another live session
yeah,
again as well. And again, thank you so
sure.
much for here. So to all the FEBA viewers, thank you so much for joining us here in the Reality Bank session. And again, if you ever want to get in touch with us, you can always get in touch with us as can get in touch with us at info@febaindia.org. And that's it. I am Johan, and thank you so much again. See you next week.
Yeah. Thank you.